The F word is sometimes a curse. Sometimes in songs, the hardest word is sorry. But maybe it is the F word. Forgiveness, that F word, that hard word. Everybody messes up, small and big time. And when you do, how much can be forgiven? An insult, a crime, a war? How do you forgive the unforgivable? This film takes a journey towards forgiveness, a journey through the words of those who, against all odds, made it through. Archbishop Desmond Tutu, once chairman of South Africa's Truth and Reconciliation Committee.
Some of the things people have tried to do to my family are close to what I consider unforgivable. Remaining in that state locks you in a state of victimhood, making you almost dependent on the perpetrator.
Jo Berry is the daughter of Sir Anthony Berry MP, killed in the Brighton bombing at the 1984 Tory party conference.
I felt as if a part of me died in that bomb, but I've realised that no matter which side of the conflict you're on, had we all lived each other's lives, we could all have done what the other did.
16 years later, Jo met the IRA activist responsible for her father's death, Pat McGee.
She's come a long way in her journey to understanding. In fact, she's come more than halfway to meet me. That's a very humbling experience.
An opponent of apartheid, Father Michael Lapsley was a target of the South African government.
3 months after Nelson Mandela's release from prison, I received a letter bomb. In the bomb blast, I lost both hands, one eye, and had my eardrums shattered. No one was charged with this crime. I haven't forgiven anyone because I have no one to forgive.
Marion Partington's younger sister Lucy was abducted, raped, tortured, murdered, beheaded and dismembered. Her body found 20 years later at the home of Fred and Rosemary West.
Forgiveness began with murderous rage. Until then I hadn't thought of myself as a murderous person, but at that moment I was capable of killing. In other words, I was not separate from the Wests. I once met another mother whose daughter had been murdered. She gave me a phrase that I now have pinned to my door. Forgiveness means giving up all hope of a better past.
Boxer Michael Watson fought Chris Eubank for the World Championship. He collapsed and was in a coma for 40 days, and a blood clot left him partially paralysed.
After the accident, it took me a long time to face up to reality. If I had animosity about what Chris had done to me, I'd be breaking myself down mentally as well as physically. How could I then move on?
Berta Klimbier's 7-year-old daughter was tortured and killed by a relative.
Victoria was very, very precious to us. From the very first day we heard about the death of Victoria, we began praying that one day we will be able to forgive. To be locked into a fixed attitude of retribution is to kill a child twice. You extinguish the very spirit and memory of your child.
Andrew Rice lost his elder brother David on September the 11th, 2001, when the World Trade Center fell.
A group called Murder Victims' Families for Reconciliation were contacted by the mother of the alleged 20th hijacker, Zacharias Moussaoui. She wanted to meet some of the families of the victims and ask for their forgiveness. As we waited in a private university building, a mother whose son was killed in the World Trade Center went down the hall to meet her. We heard footsteps, then silence. Then we heard this sobbing. Finally, they both came into the room, both mothers with their arms around each other. By now, we were all crying. One day, I'd like to meet Zacharias Moussaoui. I'd like to say to him, "You can hate me and my brother as much as you like, but I want you to know that I loved your mother and I comforted her when she was crying."
Ghazi Brighiith is a Palestinian electrician in Jerusalem. His brother was killed when he was stopped at a checkpoint in 2000.
When he protested, the soldier shouted, "Shut your mouth or I'll shoot you, you son of a bitch." To which my brother replied, "You son of a bitch." So the soldier shot him.
Rami Elenan, an Israeli graphic designer, lost his 14-year-old daughter to a suicide bomb, also in Jerusalem. Later, he met Brigitte at a meeting of the Parents' Circle, a help group for those who have lost a family member in the conflict.
Suddenly I was hit by lightning. If we, Ghazi and I, can talk and stand together after paying the highest price possible, then anyone can.
You don't need to love each other to build a bridge between the two nations. You need respect. If I can stand with my Jewish brother Rami, respecting him as he respects me, then there is hope.
Sometimes people make mistakes. We don't always say what we mean. We hold on to pride instead of learning from and then putting the past aside. Forgiveness is a hard word. Maybe the hardest word. But it's a hard road that one day brings you home.